Welcome to Beyond the Clinic, the podcast for health professionals who intend to take their expertise and transform it into innovative income streams that extend well beyond the traditional clinic model. I'm your host, Sarah Almond Bushell, registered dietitian and certified business coach, and proud owner of not one, but two successful online businesses. Picture this. It wasn't that long ago that I was a full-time NHS employee, afraid to take the leap from the security of a regular salary. I understand that stepping up as an authority can feel intimidating, but it doesn't have to be scary, and you do not have to do this alone. I'm on a mission to inspire ambitious health business owners, or those who want to be, who dream of being able to positively impact thousands of people's health and lives while simultaneously enjoying the freedom that comes from being your own boss. If you've been nodding along, then you are in the right place. In this podcast, you're going to learn tangible, easy, actionable business strategies on how to accelerate your business success that extends well beyond the traditional clinic model. You'll also hear from successful health experts where we'll dive behind the scenes of their businesses so you can hear exactly what it took for them to grow flourishing businesses too. Thank you for being here and welcome along to Beyond the Clinic. Let's dive in. Welcome to today's episode. If you've been feeling stuck or overwhelmed or like something is holding you back from taking your business to the next level, then this episode is for you. We're going to dive deep into the invisible barriers that may be keeping you from showing up fully in your business. You'll learn why your brain tries to protect you by keeping you in your comfort zone, even when it's holding you back. You'll also learn how self-limiting beliefs act like a smoke alarm, triggering fear and doubt when you try to grow. And you'll also come away with simple, actionable steps to start to recognize these false alarms and be able to move past them. So by the end of this episode, you'll not only understand why you've been feeling stuck, but you'll have the practical tools to begin shifting your mindset and taking bold actions to grow your business. So let's take a moment just to reflect on where you are right now. Maybe you've taken steps into freelance work, you've started seeing clients, you're posting on social media, and you're hoping to gain momentum. Or maybe you're still in your NHS role, you're dreaming about what it would be like to finally leap into working for yourself full-time. Either way, you likely have big ambitions. You want to create something that gives you the freedom to work on your own terms, the income to support your family, and the confidence to know that you are truly making an impact. But something isn't quite working just yet. For those of you who are freelancing already, it might look like this. You don't like showing your face or your voice or even your name online because it feels too vulnerable. You procrastinate on creating and launching a course or a program because you're worried it won't be good enough and you might need to learn a bit more about the topic first. Or you feel stuck. You're overthinking things. You're constantly questioning whether you're really, truly ready yet. And for those of you still in the NHS or still working for somebody else, it might sound a little bit like this. What if I leave and I can't make enough money to support myself? What if I fail and I have to go back to the NHS feeling humiliated? Or I've always worked for someone else. Can I really do this on my own? Deep down though, you know it's not just about money. It's not about timing or experience. Something else is keeping you tethered to that familiar, no matter how much you want to break free. So I've seen this time and time again with my clients, all at different stages of business. They can get to a point where they just feel stuck, they feel overwhelmed, and they're held back by fears that they can't quite articulate. For some, it's the fear of being seen. It's worrying about what other people will think if they start showing up online or putting their name to content. And for others, it can be the fear of failure, the voice in their head that says, well, what if this doesn't work? And then there are those who are actually afraid of success. Yes, I know, success. They worry that if their business grows, they won't be able to manage it all, or that they'll lose the stability that they've relied on for years. Now, none of these fears mean that you're not cut out for success. What you're experiencing is simply your brain trying to protect you, keeping you in the comfort of what you know, even when you know it isn't really what you want anymore. So I'm going to share a story with you. 5 years ago, back in 2019, I knew that something had to change. I was working as an NHS Band 8B dietitian, but deep down, I actually felt stuck. I wanted to prove to myself that I could build a successful business, and my goal was really ambitious. It was to earn double my NHS salary, which was about £120,000. I knew the strategy of how to get there, and I also knew I couldn't do it alone. So the summer before, my lovely mum passed away, and losing her was devastating. It forced me to reevaluate everything in my life. Life is just too short to spend it feeling discontented, and I realised that I didn't want to look back with regret about staying in a career that no longer fulfilled me. So during my grief, I took a 3-month sabbatical from the NHS, and I went to stay with my dad at my parents' villa in Menorca, one of the Balearic Islands in Spain. That's where they went to retire to. And after sorting through my mum's things and supporting my dad, I settled into a routine where I'd go for long walks to familiar spots on the island. And it gave me a huge opportunity just to reflect upon life, essentially. So I'd been a dietitian for 20 years at that point, 7 of which was as a dietetic manager, a divisional director, and an AHP lead before moving back into clinical practice as an 8B consultant. And quite frankly, I was bored. I was only in my early 40s and I'd been up to the top of the career ladder, and honestly, there was nowhere left to go. And the idea of another 25 years of doing the same thing was actually horrifying. And so I knew I had to do something else. I loved being a dietitian. And so the idea of taking my side hustle private practice that I'd had from day one a little bit more seriously had so much appeal. But I also knew that I was actually a bit fed up of seeing patients. I didn't really want any more private patients, but I quite enjoyed the project work that I'd been doing. And so I started to listen to business podcasts on my walks around the island. I discovered Amy Porterfield and Pat Flynn, and both of these are very famous online business gurus who introduced me to the concept of passive income and making money online. And you know what? I was hooked. This idea of passive income sounded genius. Creating something once, automating the process online, and letting it sell again and again and again, literally making money while I slept or went off to do other more fun things. I couldn't believe the possibilities. And I realized that I could turn my pediatric nutrition expertise into courses, into ebooks, into programs, and sell them all through my website. And so I got to work. I learned this online business strategy. I tried things, I failed, I tweaked and tried again until I worked out how to sell my expertise online. And when I sold a couple of children's food portion size guides directly from my website, I had proof that I could do this. But from there, I wanted to scale. Those portion size guides were less than a tenner, and Amy Porterfield had been telling stories of her students making thousands, if not millions, from their online course sales. But back then, I couldn't really find anyone in the UK, let alone someone who understood being a dietitian and understanding our professional regulations, to teach me how to build an online health business. And so I searched a little wider and I leaned into the US and Australia. And I found a couple of online business mentors and coaches, and I figured out a framework of strategies that actually worked on a repeatable basis for us here in the UK. And I used it to sell everything. I used it to sell my one-to-one services, my high-cost VIP packages, a membership, a Netflix-style subscription, and my portion-size e-guides in massive volumes. So by the time 2020 rolled around, I'd made £124,000 in a year, which was double my NHS salary and a little bit more. And I handed in my notice and I went off to study at master's level in business strategy and online marketing. But none of this included much around mindset for business. So fast forward a couple of years, 2022, things were going well for me on the surface. I had left the NHS. I was working full time in my business. I had built a life that aligned with my values. And while the world pivoted online during COVID, my businesses were already well established and I was thriving. But underneath it all, I kind of felt something was off. I'd hit a plateau, not just financially, but emotionally and mentally. I had all the strategies, I had all the tactics down to a fine art, but that fire that had once driven me had dimmed. I no longer felt that same sense of determination or ambition. I kept thinking, why don't I feel excited about the next steps, Sarah? Why do you feel stuck when you've come so far? So at first I thought, you know what, I'm a bit burnt out. I just need a break. But the truth was much deeper than that. I started to realize that it wasn't about my business strategy at all. I was holding myself back in ways that I couldn't quite put my finger on. It was as if I'd been hit by this invisible ceiling, and no matter how much I tweaked my business plans, something inside me kept resisting real growth. What I was experiencing was a huge and completely unexpected mindset block, and it wasn't something that I knew I could overcome on my own. And that's when I decided to work with a mindset coach. To be honest, I was a bit skeptical at first. I'd never really seen myself as someone who needed help with their mindset. I was confident. I knew what I was doing. I thought it was all about the practicalities and the action steps and the strategies. But working with her opened my eyes to the self-limiting beliefs that had been just quietly running in the background in my subconscious. I realized that deep down, I started to question whether I deserved any more success. I'd achieved so much already. And what was the purpose of the money that I earned? It actually had none. It was just accumulating in my business bank accounts. And so I was blocking myself from taking things to the next level. I had these fears about growing too big, and I still have these. I talk about one on episode 29, if you want to hear about that, about whether I'd be able to handle all the customer services that comes with having more clients and bigger growth. But through this coaching, I learned how to recognize these beliefs for what they were. Just thoughts, not facts, no evidence. And if you let these thoughts take hold, they present themselves as feelings or emotions, and we act upon these, or in my case, don't act upon them. And this action or inaction actually changes our futures. So after working on shifting my perspective, identifying where I was holding myself back, and realigning with the ambition and the confidence that I had when I first started my journey, I noticed things began to shift again, and for the better. I felt re-energized. My creativity came back. I was able to take big, bold steps like launching this podcast. So that mindset coaching was truly transformative for me. It reignited my drive. It showed me that mindset isn't just a small part of success, it's actually the foundation. And because of this, and because I see my clients experiencing similar things, I've chosen to study mindset for business in 2025 so that I can help my colleagues and my clients with their limiting beliefs too. Because even if you have all the strategies and all the tactics in the world nailed in and perfected, without mindset work, you're only going to get so far. So, does my story sound familiar? Maybe you've got big dreams for your business. Maybe it's growing your income, launching that online course, finally showing up confident on social media, but something gets in your way. Something stops you from actually doing it. If you feel that knot of self-doubt, if you feel that fear of being judged, or listen to a voice in your head whispering, what if I say something wrong? Instead of actually moving forward and doing it, you're going to find reasons not to do it, reasons that will hold you back. And what's really happening here is not a lack of motivation. It's not that you can't be bothered. It's not even you haven't got enough time. It's your brain doing its job to try and protect you. So I like to think of your brain as a smoke alarm that sits in your kitchen. Its job is to detect danger and keep you safe. So when something truly dangerous happens, like a fire, the alarm goes off. It's essential. It helps protect you. But sometimes that same alarm goes off for something much smaller, like when you burn the toast. So there's no real danger there, but the alarm goes off just as if your whole kitchen is on fire. And that's exactly what's happening with self-limiting beliefs and how your brain works when you go to step outside of your comfort zone. So let me talk you through the science behind this smoke detector alarm. So the amygdala, that's your brain's smoke detector. The amygdala is part of your brain responsible for detecting threats. It's programmed to react quickly to anything that feels uncertain or unfamiliar or a bit risky. And thousands of years ago, this was vital. It kept our ancestors alive, safe from predators or dangerous situations. But today, though, the amygdala doesn't know the difference between a real threat, like an actual fire, and a perceived threat, like recording an Instagram live or pitching yourself to a new client. To your brain, stepping outside of your comfort zone feels just as risky as an actual emergency. Now, when you think about taking bold actions in your business, like posting a video or sharing your opinion even online, or just putting your name and photo on your website, if this is new for you, your brain's smoke detector can go off and it can send those fear signals. It can send you to think things like, what if someone's going to criticize me? Oh, I'm not good enough yet. Or what if somebody does their homework and finds out I'm a fraud because I've only got 10 years experience and other nutrition professionals have got 20 years of experience. And these thoughts are the equivalent of that alarm blaring over that piece of burnt toast. There's no real fire, but the alarm still reacts and it stops you from doing that big, bold thing. So this holds you back, doesn't it? When your brain's burnt toast smoke alarm goes off, it triggers fear, it triggers self-doubt. You might avoid posting the video because you're scared that someone's going to judge you. You might tell yourself that you're too busy to start that new project or do that collaboration with someone. You might stick to safe tasks like tweaking your website instead of taking bold, visible actions that would actually grow your business. And the problem is, if you keep letting that alarm stop you, you're going to stay stuck. You're going to stay in the same place. You're going to stay safe and comfortable and not grow. But here's the truth. Most of these alarms are false alarms. Most of the time, there is no fire. It's just burnt toast. But if you let that alarm stop you every single time, you'll never move past the comfort zone. The first step to breaking free is to recognize the alarm for exactly what it is, your brain overreacting to perceived danger, and ask yourself, is this a real fire or is it just burnt toast? And what's the worst that could happen if I take this step? Most of the time, you're going to realize that fear isn't the real danger. It's just your brain trying to keep you safe. So when you understand how your brain works, you can start to see fear and self-doubt for what they really are. They're just normal responses to an overactive smoke detector. And just like you'd open a window to clear out the air after burning your toast, you can take steps to calm your brain and move forward. So every time you act, despite this alarm going off, you teach your brain that it's okay to step outside your comfort zone. Over time, what happens is the alarm quietens down. It becomes easier for you to take bold actions in your business. So my action step for you from this episode, I've got a couple of them actually. First one, to ask yourself, where has your brain's alarm held you back this year? Where has it told you to play safe? Number two, what opportunities have you avoided because of the fear of getting it wrong? And number three, what would your business look like today if you hadn't let these false alarms stop you? So if you're nodding along right now to this episode, that's a really good thing. It means that you're starting to recognize the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And awareness is the first step towards positive change. Jim Rohn said, for things to change, you have to change. You have to look within. And when you change for the better, things will change for the better too. So if you want to up level in your business, it has to come from within. What I'm talking about here is self-improvement and personal development. If you don't become an improved version of yourself, next year will be exactly the same as this year, because improvement and growth in business always starts with yourself. You may have heard the famous Tony Robbins quote that success is 80% mindset and only 20% strategy. I've learned that lesson. If you don't have the mindset, even the best strategy can fail. So if you've resonated with what I've said today, if you are recognizing that there might be fear or doubt or self-limiting beliefs and they might be holding you back, I've got something exciting to share with you. In February 2025, I'm launching a 12-week Mindset for Business group coaching program designed specifically for healthcare professionals. It isn't about strategy or tactics. It's about tackling those invisible barriers that are keeping you from showing up fully and achieving the success you deserve. Over these 12 transformative weeks, we will identify and overcome your self-limiting beliefs. We will build your confidence in showing up online and in your business, and we will develop a resilient mindset that allows you to take bold, consistent action. So if this sounds exactly like what you need, I'd love for you to head over to the link in the show notes to join the waitlist. Spots are limited, so don't miss your chance to transform your mindset and in your business in 2025. So let's just quickly recap what we've explored today. We've started by looking at the common fears and doubts that might be keeping you stuck. We've looked at the science behind why your brain triggers fear and self-doubt when you step outside your comfort zone. It's not lack of time or lack of ability. It's your brain doing its job to protect you, even when there's no real danger. We've used the analogy of a smoke alarm, and we've talked about how to recognize false alarms for exactly what they are, just thoughts, not facts. And then finally, I've shared some simple but powerful questions to help you reflect on where these fears have held you back and how you can begin to move forward. Henry Ford said, "If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got." Growth in your business starts with growth in yourself. So if you don't up-level your mindset, even the best strategies just won't get you to where you want to go. Join me next time where we are going to dive further into the mindset side of things. And this time we're talking all about money mindset. Bye for now. That's it for another week. Thank you so much for joining me as we explore the abundance of strategies to help you recapture that feeling of possibility and excitement as you drive your business forwards and beyond the clinic room. If you found today's episode inspirational, then don't forget to like and subscribe to the show to stay in the loop for more valuable advice that I'm going to be sharing each week. If you want to be the first to hear about new episode releases, news and ways that I can support your business growth, then please don't forget to check out the links in the show notes, and you can also connect with me from there. Don't keep me a secret. I would be delighted if you left a review and shared this podcast with your colleagues. Until next time, bye for now.